Hey everybody, welcome to day 54, where we are going to be talking about how to create our titles for our books. So if you haven't hit that subscribe button below, go ahead and click it now, and whatever it is you're drinking today, grab a cup, cozy up, and let's get to writing. Seem to go one of two ways, and that is that they are either super easy and you know right up front what your book is going to be named and it just fits. And then there's the other way, which is when your title is super elusive and it's really difficult to come up with exactly what you're going to call your book. So most of us start with something called a working title, because as we write the book, sometimes our theme changes, sometimes our plot changes, sometimes literally everything changes. And so what we start with is not always what we end with. So we start with a working title, which is basically what I think the book is going to be called. That's what a working title means. And then later on, once the book is finished, we either finalize it and say, nope, that's the real title, but more commonly, we come up with a new and better improved version. So if you aren't quite sure what the title of your book is yet, that is totally normal. And actually, with all of my books, they have all gone through title changes just because something didn't fit or something didn't look right in it at one point. So you know what? I'm actually going to give you guys a couple of examples. I was not planning to do this when I planned out what this video was going to look like, but I think that these are kind of goofy and fun. So, you know, once upon a time, Secrets of the Tally was actually just called The Tally. Actually, for like most of the years that I was writing it, I would say it was like the last month before I published that I was like, you know what, I'm gonna change this. And I switched it to Secrets of the Tally at the very last moment. The second one was for a very long time called The Epic Kidnap, which if you know what epics are, makes sense. But if you don't know what an epic is, the Epic Kidnap would just sound like a glorified, yeah, we kidnapped a kid, go us. Like it just was not ringing the way that I wanted it to. And so that definitely changed. A Deal for Three for a really long time was called Rachuan's Game. That was my working title for it, and I hated that. I never liked that as a title, but I could not find what my final title was going to be. And that one took me forever until I finally realized that there was this common theme of three and like deals involving the number three, and it just made perfect sense, and it's the third book in the series, and it ended up just being the perfect title. Book 4 was actually even harder. For the longest time, I'm actually going to show you guys a picture here. This was my mock-up sketch before we actually did the full cover. This was like the sketch of what it was going to look like. And this was the title that I had picked out at the moment. And if you see it say The Prince of Importance, you're reading it wrong. It says The Price of Importance, but literally everybody thought it said The Prince of Importance. And I was like, well, that's a stupid title. And so I couldn't stick with that, which I wasn't totally in love with The Price of Importance anyway. I had this whole kind of idea of a theme of, you know, all of my characters have become really important in book 4, but it comes at a very large price. So that was kind of my thought at the time. I also called it The Side of Right for a while, which was because, you know, they're trying to do the right thing. I never really liked that either. And so we came down to the week before we're literally supposed to announce it. I can't figure out what it's called. And so what I did was I took all of the keywords, anything that had to do with the theme of the story or the main characters or just anything unique or important, and I was just trying to organize them into something that sounded like a title. And I had like a group text going with my friends who had already read the book, who were my beta readers, and I was going, what do you think about this one? And they'd be like, no, that sucks. And they send one back, they're like, what do you think about this? And I like, no, that sucks. So for a while, we were almost going to call it like the Jari Prince, but nobody can pronounce the word Jari, so I wasn't sure that I wanted that in the title. And then finally, I came up with the word cloak. And when I put that down on the paper and I came up with To Wear the Cloak, I was like, oh my gosh, it's perfect, because there are multiple instances where a cloak represents something of immense importance in book 4, and that ended up becoming my title at the dead last second. So if you guys find yourself in that same position where, you know, you don't have to figure out your title right now, but later down the line when it really is crunch time and you have to figure out what it is, come up with all of the keywords, themes, anything, any sort of a moral that you're trying to teach your readers throughout the course of the story, something that ties the entire book together, something to do with the plot, and just use all of those keywords, put them on a sheet, and then start working around with them and trying to turn them into something that sounds like a good book title. And then once you have all those keywords written down, and that can be like murder and blood or glory or truth or whatever the main theme of your story is, once those keywords are written down, if you're still not having a title jump out at you, what I would highly recommend is going to Amazon and then research your genre and pull up the top 100 books in the genre that you're writing. So if it's romance, if it's fantasy, if it's sci-fi, whatever it is, pull up the top 100 books and scroll all the way down that list and just read all of the titles. And if something sounds really good to you, try to pick out what it was that you liked about it. So then as you go down that list on Amazon, just keep going until something sparks your imagination and your inspiration and you find a a way to fit the keywords that you have written down for your book into a title that sounds good, sounds like it fits your genre, and sounds like something that your readers are going to want to pick up off the shelf. So one other thing I want you to think about is that if your book is going to be a series, coming up with a series title as well. So mine is just called The Secrets of the Tally series, and that's very normal to just have the name of your first book be the name of the whole series. Also, really my whole series is still always about The Secrets of the Tally. And one thing you can do as well is to have that series name in the title of every book. So this would be like Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, and then Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Every book has Harry Potter in the title, so you know that that is part of the Harry Potter series. And that is actually what I'm planning to do with this one. I'm calling it the Whisperess series. So I haven't quite decided yet, but book one is going to be something like The Whisperess and the Starlight After Circus, or maybe The Whisperess and the Crystal Forest After Circus. I actually kind of think I might want to write my second book before I start naming all of them, but we'll see what happens. Another thing that you can do is to have kind of a common theme between each of the books as well. So instead of saying Harry Potter in the name of each title, you could do what Twilight does, where it's Twilight and then New Moon and then Eclipse and then Breaking Dawn. So with those books, everything is connected because the titles are very short and they also have to do with some sort of phase of night. So again, coming up with your final title is not crucial at this moment. All that really matters right now is just that we have a working title, something that kind of tells a little bit about what the book is about, but do keep it in mind because it's a good idea to be on the lookout for keywords and themes and plot points which later can become your final title. But what matters right now is the word count, and with it being day 54, yesterday we should have been at 38,341. I wrote 1,711 words, which put me at a total of 38,149. So I am gonna jump off and continue on my word count for today. If you haven't hit that subscribe button below, go ahead and click it now, and I will see you guys tomorrow for day 55 of the 60-day novel writing challenge.